To score a run, first try to hit the ball with a baseball bat when the pitcher throws it to you. If you miss the ball, you get a strike. And once you get 3 strikes, you're out.
I hadn't seen what appeared to be more of a slam dunk case, a legal case against the defendant in quite some time. DNA, cell phone records, car.
His DNA was on the knife sheath. His car was seen on surveillance video speeding away from the house where the murders happened. His phone pinged near the house.
Now, let's associate baseball rules of 3 strikes with a major court case.
DNA.
His DNA was on the knife sheath.
If you miss the ball, you get a strike.
His phone pinged near the house.
Cell phone records.
His phone was shut off during the time of the murder.
A power door phone cannot ping a cell tower because its cellular radios are inactive.
Sometimes it's not about evidence. It's about the lack of evidence that actually matters.
Moron.
If you miss the ball, you get a strike.
Car.
His car was seen on surveillance video speeding away from the house where the murders happened.
And once you get 3 strikes, you're out.
Car.
His car.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Listen to Pavarotti.
Can I be your superhero?
This special presentation of The Revealing is a long time coming. Months ago, I informed my viewers that until we could definitively prove that the car in the neighborhood was not Bryan's, nothing would change. This was easily gathered from a court ruling by Judge Hippler in that the car was used to literally deny the motion from the defense for alternate perpetrators due to the lack of ability to tie them to a white car. In the judge's ruling against allowing alternate perpetrator defense by the Kohberger team, a footnote tells the story. As the state notes, none of the 4 individuals drives a car that could be mistaken for a Hyundai Elantra. The expert for the Kohberger defense team in a released court document makes a pretty good claim. Photogrammetric measurements were not reported to have been performed by the police to determine the unknown suspect vehicle's size without a size and shape overlay comparison or in-video measurements. The police did not distinguish between the models of vehicles that have consistent size in the videos from near the incident scene. Using this, we tested this form of measurement with the Floyd Cannabis Shop video, and we were astounded at the results. Once the actual Elantra was overlaid to the image, we clearly see the headlights, taillights, and the fog lamps of the vehicle that was reported to be Kohberger's at Floyd Cannabis Shop. Sorry, that one has fog lamps. Can't be Kohberger's car. So this is all we know now that is 100% fact. We've got this vehicle right here that we can't put anywhere else because there's no other video of the A&W root beer, but we just know that it appears somehow on Louder Avenue in this area, and it drives through and it passes the Ridge Road camera here and here. And we see it on video do it. Watch the timestamp down in the bottom right, 3:29:05, 3:29:06:07. And then the same camera or another camera mounted right there on the same building catches another angle at 05, 06, 07 as it goes up and out. Then we know the vehicle goes over and passes the 1320 Linda Lane camera because we see it on video. And then we see it here, 3:29, between 47 and 49. Then at 3:29:29, we have this vehicle that passes the 1311 Sunset Mart, 3:29:29. And here is the screenshot from that video showing the vehicle passing, the timestamp at 3:27:46. You add 1 minute 43 seconds, it's 3:29:29. And here is the excerpt from the FBI's new released report verifying 3:27:46 and a minute and 43 seconds behind. So it's 3:29:29. So think of it like this. If this vehicle right here is passing Linda Lane at 3:29:49, and this vehicle's passing the Sunset Mart at 3:29:29, just like we see on the screenshot and the FBI verifies, then look at the distance between that and Linda Lane. And remember, 3:29:29, it just passed the Sunset Mart. Camera's rolling. We should see it roll through here, pass Ridge Road, and then go up around, and then we see it in front of 1320 Linda Lane right now. Look, the vehicle still hasn't even passed this camera. So it's obviously not the same vehicle. What's going on here? So considering we just watched that Ridge Road video all the way up until 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and it passed there at 3:29:29, that means this vehicle never made it past this spot right here and then just disappeared. But that's not all. Since the FBI report does not include any times for 1320 Linda Lane after 3:30, we can assume that that footage does not exist from 3:30 to 4:06. So that means that somewhere around 4:01, a vehicle appears somewhere on Taylor, drives around Taylor down Ridge where it's caught on camera here, and then turns onto Ridge or Walenta, and it's caught on camera again as it heads in this direction, and then it disappears from sight. Now, you would think that it would be caught on camera again here, but as we learned through recent documents, the video doesn't exist for Paradise at 4:01. So that's all we know about this vehicle. But here it is as it comes around 1125 Ridge. And then it turns, and there she goes. Here's what we know now, though. We went over this the other day when we did the photogrammetric measurements against that vehicle and the Elantra. That vehicle is just a few inches longer than the Elantra. So while it's very similar, it's not an Elantra. And I can tell you exactly how long that vehicle is now. When we overlay the Ford Fusion, while this is not a Ford Fusion because of the rear panel of windows, see how they don't match up at all, but the overall size and length of the Ford Fusion is spot on with this vehicle. Watch the rear bumper. Maybe the Ford Fusion might be just an inch or two longer, but it's pretty spot on. Yeah, I think it's right on the money. The Ford Fusion is 191 inches from bumper to bumper, where the Hyundai Elantra is 179. So you can clearly see this vehicle in the photo is every bit of the size of the Fusion and definitely wider or longer than the Elantra. So this isn't an Elantra. It just has similar features. And you can see even the side panel of that Fusion matches up. See that? See the Fusion side panel. But the Fusion also has the line that goes straight through the door handles as well. But everything else lines up, I mean, pretty close. Look at the rear there. So anyway, this vehicle's not an Elantra, and it's a little bit longer than an Elantra, about exactly the length of a Fusion. So that's not an Elantra either. And this vehicle that we know is not that vehicle seems to have a shorter stance. And see, I know this was an Elantra, but because it's not a parallel side view, it's more of a top view because we can see a lot of the top of the vehicle. doing an actual size measurement is not comparable. But I know that the window configuration of the Elantra, I can place right over it even at this angle, and it matches up perfect. So going through on the vehicles that I thought this could be, first, let's see, that's an Elantra too. Hang on. Let's see. First, I tried this. This is a Hyundai Accent. And when I put the window over this, it's just not compatible with the Elantra, even though they should have pretty close to the same window. It just doesn't quite work. But this one does. This one works really, really good. I'll shrink it up, try to match up the wheels here. A little bit shorter. There we go. Look at this window configuration right here. Oh, if I can get it on there. Let's see. Boom. Tilt it just a little bit. I could go over it just a little bit. And we got a match. Look at that. Exact to the Elantra. I mean, exact. And what is this? This is a Mazda 3. This is a 2015 Mazda 3. And look at the angle of the back, how it's got the shorter rear end and a little bit fatter sail panel back there. But everything else has the same features as the Elantra. Nope. I mean, almost the exact same features as the Elantra. Down to the panel that goes through here, down here, everything from the side, the wraparound tail light or headlight, the wraparound tail light, just a shorter stance back here. Now look at this. When we go to this video on Paradise, watch the vehicle as it comes through right there. See how squatty it is in the back? Has the exact window configuration of that Mazda 3, even with a little bit fatter sail panel. Look at that. See how squatty it is? And then I noticed this as it comes through. See this tree right here? This tree has these little branches. It's going to look like the tail light is broken up a little bit. Watch. See the tail light looks solid right there, and then it shines really bright because these are LED lights. The reason it plumes so much on these cameras is because LEDs create the plume. But as it goes past this little tree branch, see how it makes the rear tail lights look like they're not all one? Look, see, it looks like there's separation in it, but it's really just the tree branch. And it'll continue to do it as it goes through, see? See right there where it looks like there's little dots? That's just the tree branch creating that. And once the light comes on, then it switches out of that mode to where that shows the plume, and it gives you kind of a real representation. And then see how it looks like it's separated? That's the tree again. When it gets past the tree, it is just one continuous bright rear. There's no breaks in it. Look, as it continues going, there's never a break in it. It looks like one continuous light. And that's important because that's not what we see with the Elantra. Look, this is the 244 car that isn't Bryan's, but you see the rear tail lights, how they're not continuous? It's dot, 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 dot. And it's not just right there. I mean, it's as far as the eye can see. Even when it gets all the way up here, it doesn't ever look continuous. It's just dot, 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 dot. Unlike what we just seen in that video. Look, even all the way up here, it doesn't look continuous. You can still see the dot, 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 dot. So it's a much different look than that continuous rear tail light look right there. Dot, 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 dot. Different vehicle. Now we go to this image. This Mazda 3 is right on the money. The plumes are exactly in the spot we would expect. It is right on the money. But then we got this effect with the rear brake light, how it lights up the entire panel on the back of this thing, and I finally understand it now. I mean, this was the thing that makes it plain as day, and I know how this effect is now created right there. See, when you have these rear LED lights, like on this 2014 Mazda 3, and the LED lights above the license plate, it creates this effect. It creates a light shadow on this molding. See how this molding comes out? And it comes down and it goes back up, and it makes this look like it's just one solid light. And it's that shape where it goes across and it comes down and back up. See the shape? Goes across and then it comes down and it'll come back up over there. That's the molding. The LEDs are just lighting up this entire area right here. Tail light, license plate with this molding coming around. Tail light, license plate with this molding that comes around just like that. And the final piece is the rear brake light is actually low in the window, just like the FBI said, as you can see in this picture right here. With all this new stuff coming out, one of the things that could be happening is it could be designed to get us to, take our eyes off of things that we were working on that could have had some really big impact. So I'm not going to let that happen. I'm just putting everything into overdrive. This is going to follow up on the video that I did with y'all last week, maybe the week before, where I went through and I said everything appears to me based on the video that thing could be like a 2015 Mazda 3. And I'm going to show you something in this one that will absolutely blow your socks off. So prepare yourself for the bam at the end. But Lana came across some unsealed FBI emails, and one of them I want to point out is this one, which is really important. And I'll work on putting together just a total video about all of this for the public later. But there's too much for me to just put in a video. I've got too much on it. But this is the email that the FBI sent on November 19th when the only video footage they had was the vehicle at the 1112, the 1112 camera, the car coming in and circling and leaving. So based on that camera alone, this is what the FBI came up with and asked the agencies to keep an eye out for. And it was a list of these vehicles, and they said that these were likely newer, 2019 plus. And they put the Nissan Sentra, the Altima, the Mazda 6, Subaru Legacy, Ford Fusion, Acura TLX, Lexus EX350/500, and the Genesis 670. Now, most people are going to take this and they're going to go, oh my goodness, what a lead. And they're going to run with it and try to figure out which one of these vehicles it is. And in their mind, create some conspiracy. But we got to remember, this was on November 19th before they got other video. And I'm pretty sure that they never uncovered what I uncovered in these videos as it relates to the rear end of these cars. So while this is interesting and it makes a very compelling point to how they later determined an Elantra based on different video, I've gone through and I've done the research on this, and I'm going to show you why it's not any of these vehicles, but I'm also going to show you something that will blow your mind. And I'm getting closer and closer to coming to my final conclusion that it is a Mazda 3. And here's why. When we look at this video or this screenshot that I was able to capture of the rear tail lights as it went underneath the porch, it gives us a very good representation, as I showed you in that other video, of what it is we're actually looking at. So down here, when I draw lines, what we're actually looking at is a highly lit up area right here that is reflecting off of the shape of the molding of the back of the vehicle. So it likely has very bright tail lights and then an LED strip, probably LED tail lights that are reflecting off of the bottom molding, and it's illuminating this area, showing us the outline of the molding on the rear tail lights. And by using that, we can pretty much exclude vehicles and include vehicles based on that, because when we draw the lines of the bottom and the top and we see how sharply that the lights or the molding goes up to the end of the tail lights, it tells us so much. And as I go through and I put rear views of all the vehicles in that FBI report and I compared them to this, and it easily excludes most of them, because you can see the moldings that come down that would have been reflected off of these vehicles in all of these photos. So if the molding doesn't match up, there's no way it's going to reflect like this. And when we go to, this is the Mazda 6, you can see the distance between where this molding is and the tail light. It's just too much compared to the distance that actually showed up with the vehicle in the neighborhood. So this one is absolutely not it. Now we get to the Acura TLX and we can see it has that proper shape that we're looking for. But again, where the molding comes up, the distance between the tail light and the bottom of the molding that would have been reflected is much too far. So this one can be excluded. When we get to the Nissan Sentra, it has a straight molding. So there's no way it's this car. The trunk is not nearly enough to be able to include any of these in this comparison. We get over here to the Ford Fusion, which we would think that would be it. Ford Fusion has a straight molding. It's definitely not a Fusion. We get over here to the, it said 670, but it's actually a Genesis G70, and it has a straight molding at the bottom as well. We can exclude that. We get to this one right here. I can't remember what this one was, but whatever it is, it's got a straight molding on the bottom. We can exclude that. An ES350 Lexus, well, although it does have kind of a slight look that we're looking for, nowhere near like this, so we can exclude that. This is the Nissan Sentra, so this one, it's straight, so nothing like we see in the photo. Now, when we get down here to the Hyundai Elantra, you can see the Elantra does have that same little angle that we're looking for right here, but again, where you get the tail lights and the molding, it's just too far between the top of the tail light and where it would have reflected off of the molding, as you see in this picture. But when we get to this Mazda 3, the Mazda 3 has a much sharper molding that goes right up to the tail light. See how far it is on the Elantra as it comes around? There's this whole portion here. But the Mazda 3, as it goes up, the molding actually even almost touches the tail light, giving us this same sharpward uptick right here. So I'm getting really close to declaring it's a Mazda 3. But as we look at this Mazda 3 in this image, where you can really see the molding as it comes down around and goes up sharply to meet the tail light, you can see it matches much better to what we see in the actual video than anything else. But also, the effect that we're seeing with all of this lighting is LED tail lights in the Mazda, and likely an LED strip above the license plate right here. So when you have these powerful LEDs, that's why it's reflecting so much off of this big molding that comes around and gives us this effect that all this is lit up. And check this out. This is Bryan Kohberger's actual Hyundai Elantra in the evidence locker, showing his rear tail lights and his front headlight, obviously no fog lights. When we look at videos taken from the vehicle coming through, this is actually a video of the vehicle as it just passes the rail, and this is what the tail lights alone are doing to the infrared camera, this big bloom. And then as it starts to turn around, we see the big blooming plume again, and it continues to do it every time it goes past this camera. This is actually proof right here I'm about to show you that it's not Bryan Kohberger's car in this neighborhood, and I don't know why people did not dig in deeper on this. I've seen all the clickbaiters out there say the camera footage was manipulated because of the big bright bloom of the lights. And heck, I thought it was some kind of jammer jamming the camera, but this is actually literally proof. These blooming lights are proof that it's not Bryan Kohberger's car. Watch this. When we do a little research, what causes that bloom or washout effect on a light bulb security camera operating in black and white night vision mode? You need light sources that emit high levels of infrared light or extremely intense white LED light. They're just LED tail lights and headlights. Because these cameras use infrared sensors to see in the dark, any light source within the infrared spectrum, even if invisible to humans, can overwhelm the camera's sensor and cause it to lose definition. So what does it do? It affects the light types, and it's called blooming. High intensity infrared LEDs, since black and white mode is specifically tuned to detect infrared light at wavelengths typically around 850 nanometers, powerful infrared light sources can overexpose the sensor. So strategic placement of external illuminators can create high intensity zones that blind the camera sensor, making everything in that area appear as a white glare. Infrared LED strips. These can be used to create localized glare. Bright white LED headlights and taillights, though, modern automotive LED lighting is highly energy efficient and produces bright white light that can cause significant glare if pointed directly at a lens. But LED headlights, these are notorious for blinding cameras. Why it occurs? Sensor overexposure. When a light source is too bright for the camera's current exposure settings, the sensor becomes saturated. The camera's auto exposure tries to compensate, but the intense light source creates a massive glare that hides surrounding details. In night vision mode, the camera's own infrared light can bounce off reflective surfaces like glossy walls or glass, creating a white haze or blurry mess. Then you go to standard versus optional lighting for the 2015 Hyundai Elantra SE. Headlights. The 2015 Hyundai Elantra SE came standard with halogen projector headlights. These use standard halogen bulbs, specifically H11 for low beams, which produce a warmer, less intense yellow tinted light compared to the bright white or blue-white light of LEDs or HIDs. And then the standard tail lights on the SE model that Kohberger had were equipped with halogen tail lights. While these are visible at night, they lack the concentrated intensity of the LED arrays found on higher-end vehicles or modern aftermarket kits. And then you have LED accents. You could only get projector headlights with LED accents or LED rear tail lights if you added the optional SE style package. Even then, these were mostly for styling and daytime running lights, not high-intensity illumination. So people could say, well, maybe Kohberger added that. Watch this. I uploaded pictures of the vehicles creating the plumes. I said, are these images indicative of LED lights? Yes, the high-intensity circular blooming effects in your images are highly characteristic of LED or HID, high-intensity discharge lighting on a night vision camera. While any bright light can cause some flare, standard halogen lights, like those found on the stock 2015 Elantra SE, rarely produce such an overwhelming whiteout unless they're pointed directly into the lens at a very close range. These are not pointed directly into the lens at a very close range, so it's telling us a standard SE Elantra would not create this blooming. Connection to the 2015 Elantra SE. As mentioned previously, a stock 2015 Elantra SE uses warmer, low-intensity halogen bulbs. If the car in these photos is an Elantra, it likely has aftermarket LED or high-intensity conversion kits installed. These upgrades are popular because they make the car look modern, but they are notorious for causing exactly the kind of camera interference seen in your images. So what it's basically saying is if Kohberger added the aftermarket LED or HID conversion kits, then it would make it very plausible. Just like we see on this photo of the rear of this Mazda 3. It's got the high intensity LED lights that were added aftermarket to give that intense light view of the blooming, but also the reflective properties of the molding. But could Kohberger have added that to his vehicle? Is that what we're seeing? This should free him right here on the car, if nothing else hasn't. The Kohberger's car that we actually had pictures of from the storage warehouse, I uploaded those. I said, do these vehicles show upgraded LED lights or standard lights on the SE? Based on the images provided, this specific vehicle appears to have standard factory lights, not upgraded LEDs. It couldn't have been Kohberger's car creating the bloom that we see on the infrared camera in the King Road neighborhood. Bam, bam, bamity, bam, bam, bam.
Like you, be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one, only one. I was an ordinary boy, my life destroyed, life destroyed, until